Welcome back to Character Quest, folks! Today we're going to be discussing a character from one of the most famous and most successful shows of all time, animated or otherwise, King Arthur's Disasters! Have you even heard of this show? I barely have. So let's not talk about it now, maybe some other day far into the future, but most certainly not today. Instead, we're going back to The Simpsons. For those who don't remember the last Character Quest, the Selma Bouvier video was actually a sleeper hit. It did okay at the time, but then rocketed up in views, and I'm very happy about that. And I'm glad that a lot of you agree with me too. I mean, come on, Selma deserves a lot better. But there's another character that has a similar fate, but has done it all to himself. Instead of the world constantly crapping on him, it's him crapping on himself and blaming the world. This character is, of course, Sideshow Bob. Now, let me be clear about something. Sideshow Bob is my favorite character in the entire show. And I'm not joking either. Maybe I'll explain why later on down the road, but that's not really important here. I'm here to tell you why Sideshow Bob is his own worst enemy. Now, what do I mean by that? Let me explain. Every failure, every miscalculation, every undoing, everything bad has all been his own fault and no one else's. I mean, yes, of course, Krusty and Bart had a hand in it here and there, but when you get down to it, it's always primarily Bob's fault. First off, let's go back to where it all began. Krusty gets busted. Here, Sideshow Bob impersonates Krusty, robs the Quickie Mart, and ends up taking over Krusty's show when Krusty goes to jail. So what's wrong here aside from the fact that he's obviously doing something evil? Well, here's the thing. Sideshow Bob's new show is a gigantic success. Everyone loves his voice, his mannerisms, his educational format, everything. So that begs the question, if he hated working with Krusty so much, why didn't he just quit and start his own show? I mean, Krusty is the most popular children's show in all of Springfield, and that's gotta give him some clout, especially because he's been with Krusty for so many years. If he wanted to leave and start his own show, I don't think he'd have any trouble. Rather than send Krusty to jail, Sideshow Bob could have just been more successful. Krusty loves nothing more than his fame and success, so to see Sideshow Bob rise up and take it away from him, that would hurt him the most. And we've seen this when Gabbo becomes popular and makes Krusty a nobody. That could have been Sideshow Bob. But no, he had to go the supervillain route and sealed his fate. But okay, let's chalk that up to a mistake. A mistake that he willingly and knowingly did with the sole purpose of ruining someone's life, but a mistake nonetheless. Hey, if politicians can get away with it, so can Sideshow Bob. In Black Widower, he ends up dating Selma. Yes, that's Selma. Selma Bouvier. I've already touched on Black Widower in the Selma video, but I explained it through Selma's eyes. Now let's do it through Sideshow Bob's. Sideshow Bob could have started all over. He made amends with Krusty, he got back into society, and people seem to forgive and forget. With the exception of Bart Simpson, but let's be fair, that was never gonna happen. And yeah, Selma wasn't attractive, but you know what he could have done? Either found the beauty in her, married her, and got rich, or do the more tactful yet also heartbreaking thing of saying, hey, sorry, this isn't gonna work out. I'm just not into you like that. Selma would have been devastated, but Sideshow Bob wouldn't have been sent back to prison. Really, what I'm trying to say is, his plan of killing Selma and taking all of her money is a terrible idea. Not just because he's trying to kill someone, but it's also because, like the Krusty plan, this is way too extreme and it's only gonna end in failure. You knew that Bart foiled you last time. What makes you think that he's not gonna do it again? And guess what? He does. This is also the Sideshow Bob plan that I feel had the biggest impact on his life. Remember when I said that people forgave him and forgot about what he did, except for one plucky young boy and his slow-witted father? This could have been Sideshow Bob's plan to do what he always wanted to do and start his own educational children's show. Whether or not he actually decided to marry Selma is honestly irrelevant. Sideshow Bob was this close to having the life he always wanted. But he threw it all away, and guess what? That's not going to be the last time either. Cape Fear is my personal favorite episode of the entire show, so it pains me to say that I'm kind of skipping over this one, because it's super easy to discuss. Sideshow Bob didn't have to kill Bart, but he tried to, and then he ended up back in prison. Can you notice the pattern yet? Sideshow Bob didn't have to do any of this. He never does. He can always find something else to do, and with every time he gets out, sure, he gets less and less freedom and respect, but he could still make do with what he has. Sideshow Bob is a very resourceful person, but he won't use that unless it gets him exactly what he wants. No compromises. We can see that perfectly in Sideshow Bob Roberts, where he runs for mayor. Even though Sideshow Bob is a thrice convicted criminal, he was definitely gonna beat Mayor Quimby. Let's face it, whether you're a Democrat, Republican, Communist, Libertarian, Vegetarian, whatever you are, you have to know that Mayor Quimby stinks. He is a horrible leader. A terrible, awful man who steals from the city, abandons his constituents when they need him the most, cheats on his wife, and so much more. Maybe the election would have been close, or hey, maybe it would have been a landslide with a record low voter turnout. But Sideshow Bob definitely would have won. He could have had everything he wanted, but no, he had to get 99% of the vote. He didn't have to cheat, is what I'm trying to say, because yeah, he cheated, he got busted, and he went back to prison. Oh boy, Sideshow Bob must love his repetitive cycles. Now I bet you're wondering why I'm saying this. This sounds like a lot of conjecture. Yeah, Mayor Quimby sucks, but to be fair, so does Sideshow Bob. I mean, really, this is like Willie Horton running for president. You don't know who he is? I strongly urge you to look him up. The 1988 presidential election was a weird one. But I actually have proof. We've seen Krusty and Homer actually vote for Sideshow Bob. Their votes weren't changed or altered in any way. Sure, Homer is a complete and total idiot and Krusty is completely greedy, but you know what? They voted for him anyways, and I'm willing to believe that so did a lot of other Springfieldians. These are the same people that consider the tire fire a town monument. Now, I'm gonna skip over some Sideshow Bob episodes because I think you guys get the point. There's only one more I want to talk about, and that's the Italian Bob. Finally, Sideshow Bob has the life that he always wanted to some extent. He lives in Italy now and has a wife and a son and is actually happy. No longer does he have to worry about the Simpsons interfering with his grand plans because he doesn't have any grand plans. All he wants to do is lead the town that he was elected to serve. Simple as that. But here's the thing. Sideshow Bob's reputation has already caught up to him. Even in Italy, they know who he is and what he did. They just don't know that Bob Terwilliger is Sideshow Bob. Somehow, I mean, that always confused me. They know who Sideshow Bob is, but they don't know that the guy who looks, sounds, and acts exactly like him is Sideshow Bob. Let's move on from that. This shows that Bob is too far gone. It's too late. He's already tried to do too much and has already gone against the law so many times that no matter where he goes, no matter what he accomplishes, he's always gonna be, first and foremost, Sideshow Bob the criminal. He won't be Bob Terwilliger the father, husband, or mayor. He could have been if he gave up the first or second time, but no, he already threw that away. And guess who he blames for it? None other than Bart Simpson. Even though Bart Simpson didn't really do anything wrong. All he did was actually nothing because Lisa's the one who exposed him in this one, not Bart. Which, to be fair, I guess is why he turns his anger more towards the Simpson family at large after this, but still, it's not their fault. All Lisa did was get drunk and expose who he is. Sideshow Bob is the one who did these horrible things. It's Sideshow Bob's fault. And because he's so prideful, he refuses to admit it. What a nasty, nasty man, but also a very interesting one, because Sideshow Bob kind of represents a lot of the worst parts of humanity. He does really bad things for his own selfish gain and refuses to acknowledge it. He will go through a bunch of mental gymnastics to try to blame other people for his own shortcomings. And I'm not talking about anyone in particular here. We all do this, even you do, you watching this. Because we as people are inherently selfish. However, we as people are also not prideful enough to think that we deserve everything even though we deserve nothing, and also most of us haven't gone to jail for attempting to kill a child. So take Sideshow Bob as a warning sign for the future. If you somehow find a way to blame everybody else but yourself for your problems, you might end up ruining your future. We're gonna touch on this more at the end of Character Quest, but all I'm gonna say is, learn from your failures. Don't let them control you, don't let them ruin you, and especially don't let them drive you to try to ruin the lives of others, even when all they did was expose your wrongdoings. If you avoid all these things, then you won't end up going down the same dark road as Sideshow Bob Terwilliger. Well folks, thanks for watching the video. What'd you guys think? Do you agree with me that Sideshow Bob is the reason that he keeps failing all the time? Comment below and let me know, because I'm always excited to hear what you guys have to say. Real quick, I'd like to thank our Patreon executive producers, Jay, Lee Fraser, Rizio, and Sophie Burgers. If you too would like your name read at the end of every Media Mementos episode, then consider donating to our Patreon, which has a link in the description below. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time!